Welcome back to the Hodge-Cast podcast. Today I'm thrilled as we're joined by Olympic royalty, Mr. Richard Whitehead. Thanks for coming on to do this, mate, because I know you've obviously with the current challenge you're doing, which we'll speak about.
Busy.
You're here, there and everywhere. I mean, just come into because you've let us use your space here.
That's it. Welcome to my hotel room. It's a pleasure though, and obviously not only being on your podcast, but also hearing about your own challenge as well. And I think when you think about people's endeavours and challenges, it's about having that mutual respect between individuals, because everybody's got a different why, and it's really important to understand that whatever goals and aspirations you have in life, they're those gold medal moments that really transform your life, and also you can challenge and you can take on to any other part of your life moving forwards, and that's why running is so important to me. It's given me those opportunities.
Yeah, no, massively. I suppose that segues nicely because we ask all our guests this on the Hodge-Cast. It's what does challenge specifically mean to Richard Whitehead and your journey?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to speak in the third person. So for me, a challenge is important for everybody, and everybody in life has a gift, and it's about nurturing that gift. And those challenges don't need to be running marathons. They don't need to be those real kind of moments where you're having to dig yourself out of a hole. A challenge for me is really about putting yourself in a vulnerable space that you can either physically or mentally learn a new skill, an opportunity to maybe experience a different environment. But ideally, when you take on a challenge, it then, like I said before, it's transformative, and it then empowers different parts of your life.
No, perfectly answered that, mate. Really well done, especially because you're coming back from Boston with the jet lag. You've articulated very well. But I only travelled up to London from Liverpool, and I'm already we were doing it, head in the clouds, so apologies in advance. Okay, Richard, let's want to strip it back kind of like to the start. I mean, we don't have to go too far back, but any sort of growing up, any early sporting influences? What was kind of like sport for you? Was you always quite athletic in that sense? Or
yeah, sporting wise, I'd been really lucky that my parents saw the power sport as an opportunity to break down some of those social barriers and obstacles that society put in my way. And I think with people with disabilities, you kind of, a lot of the challenges are the things that people put in front of you that really do impede your life, whether that's education, employment, or participation. And I was fortunate enough that my parents saw the power sport as a real avenue into being successful in life, and maybe changing people's opinions of what is actually possible through the power sport. So things like learning to swim was really difficult, and I didn't have running prosthetics till I was 28. So not being able to run like my friends was also a real issue. And for me, I think I've obviously been very competitive over my career. Started off with swimming and gymnastics, and learn that the kind of key skills that we have in life, being balanced, being agile, and having agility or being dynamic, is so important in our lives. And as a person with a disability, we're having to overcome some of those challenge obstacles on a daily basis, and that also makes us more resilient. So for instance, for like employers, if you're looking for somebody that really kind of pushes the barriers of what's possible, really kind of goes the extra mile, a person with a disability goes through those resilience opportunities every day, and they're great candidates for your roles if appropriate. And definitely when I was growing up, those challenges have given me a great opportunity to understand that yes, I have got a gift, and that gift might be running, or it might be just kind of working hard. And all the things that I've done in my life have been kind of a process up to this point. So those gold medals, those world records, those world championships have always have been to kind of this point. And I love sport. I love what it gives to me. I don't necessarily celebrate my successes enough, but I like to share them with a wider community, which is more important.
yeah, no, massively. Yeah, as you were talking then, Richard, because we've had a few kind of like amputees, war veterans on the show, and having, getting to meet them and speak to them, it really does put an eye opener on, yes, it's all the achievements and everything that, people see. It is the day-to-day stuff that
for
people
sure.
maybe don't
No, they don't.
don't take or don't appreciate.
And also that obviously the individuals that you're talking about have obviously suffered trauma in their life, and everybody in society has those real opportunities to be successful, but also everybody in life has trauma to overcome, whether it's loss of a loved one, or overcoming maybe an illness, or overcoming homelessness, and for me it's about kind of what happens in those moments, and how you become resilient through those situations, and that's really important. When you talk about war veterans or amputees that's lost their limbs, they've been through some really traumatic times, and I'm fortunate enough that I've had the opportunity to work in some of those environments, like war-torn conflict, humanitarian opportunities, and I feel that my role and responsibility in life is, when I represent my country and put on that tracksuit, is that I give back in those areas to hopefully inspire, liberate those other individuals that might have had that liberation taken away from them through that trauma.
But not only that, Richard, you inspire people like myself. That's why I reached out to get you on, and I don't have a disability, but it's still very inspiring. And sometimes people like yourself, obviously the challenge I'm doing, the 10 marathons, it's having people like you who have broke the glass ceiling that you can. Sorry to butt you up a little bit here, but it's kind of like having that thought process of what the body's capable of,
for sure.
And
there's
really
no
does
limits.
help.
There's no limits really. It's about believing that anything's possible, and it truly is. And I think in society we get too hepped up on like self gratification, and sometimes like social media is a real negative force in what is actually possible, because you see people through a screen, and you see that that's maybe not achievable for yourself. Maybe financially it's not achievable, or physically it's not achievable. And for me, when I talk to anybody, whether different sexuality, different religion, disability or not, it's about what your starting point is. And the hardest things, obviously, trying to get out the door, or having that why and having that challenge. And for me, it's about reassurance, supporting those individuals in the process of thinking outside the box, putting a team around those individuals to be successful, and then following that journey, because sustainability is really important. Consistency is also really important, because with anything, whether you're training, whether you're wanting to change your profession, then it's about those consistent mindset changes to lead a better life. And again, like I've had so many fantastic people in my life that have enabled me to have this thought process, but then also putting myself in those vulnerable situations where I'm having to be like the best form of myself. And yes, I've made mistakes, like we all have, but knowing that that's not a bad thing. It's a learning process. When you make those mistakes, you realize that there is a brighter day tomorrow, and sometimes you just have to work goddamn hard to get where you're going.
Exactly, and it's taking the accountability, knowing you've made the mistake, and
for sure. Accountability is really important, and we know that I've come across a lot of people that maybe have made some wrong choices in life, and that doesn't mean their life's over. That doesn't mean that they can't resurrect their life with maybe relationships or finances or opportunities within employment. And I really believe that it's not about second chances, it's about taking opportunities.
Good way to phrase it, that, mate. Just kind of going back on to running, because you mentioned you didn't run on prosthetics till you were 28. What was it? What was kind of like the pivotal moment with you wanted to get into running?
Yeah, prosthetics weren't available. I didn't have the mechanisms to be physically active through running. It was other sports. And then Ossa, the Icelandic brand that I'm still sponsored by, provided me with my first running feet. And then with working with my NHS prosthetist at the time, Terry Stanley, kind of got the prosthetics right. And then I was able to start running. And I'd kind of entered a marathon before that. So I was running on my sports cups on my knees in the gym late at night. And then, yeah, 2 weeks before my first marathon, I got my prosthetics, and then obviously ran in New York in 2004.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 5 hours, 19 minutes. Yeah, the probably toughest marathon or 5 hours, 19 minutes I've ever had to endeavour in my life. And it just shows that, yeah, not only anything possible, but the starting points are very similar. When your listeners or your viewers are kind of going, actually, if I do a marathon, it's going to take me 6, 7 hours or 5 hours. That's the point where I started. Don't look at the destination, look at obviously the journey. And yes, some of what I say is a bit cliche, but it is actually true. It's about kind of buying to the opportunity that running or sport or any kind of physical activity gives you, mentally and physically, and enjoy it. Enjoy the transformation that it gives not only you, but also your family and friends, because they'll see a different side of you.
Yeah, that was profound advice, that, mate. Again, you mentioned with regards to enjoy the journey, not that that's something I was quite big on with the stuff. I probably, when I first started doing these things, was too fixated on the outcome and not realising, hang on, it takes hard work to get to that outcome.
And some people look at the medals and see those kind of opportunities to get a medal at a marathon or a half marathon, whatever, and it's more than that. It's about the relationships you build in that process. And as a performance athlete, I value recreation sport highly, because as a professional athlete, you can't do recreation sport, and it's a great thing. It's such a great thing to be able to turn up and do a park run, or turn up and do a race, and just enter an event that it's not about winning or losing. It's just about participating. And sport is great for that, because the language that you use is the rules of the games, and it's not about opinions, it's not about religion, it's not about sexuality or disability. It's just about participating on a level playing field. And that's why I love running. And especially marathons, it's free to watch. When you go to a sporting event, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whatever, you have to pay for a ticket. Where obviously Manchester, London, Nottingham, where I'm from, they all have races. You can go out, stand on the road, cheer on local athletes, and get something from them that then empowers you to do your own journey.
Oh, quite right. And it's that age-old thing, isn't it? It's you versus you. You want to better yourself.
Yeah, but also seeing is believing. A lot of kids don't see young people the same as themselves, and they need to have those opportunities to understand they're not alone, and that there's some fantastic events out there that aren't tens of hundreds of pounds, that you can just enter a couple of quid, or free events like Park Run again, that you can just go and you can do it on a scooter, or you do a run, or do it with your grandparents or parents. And it really is liberating to know that you can have that experience with people that you care about, and also show that you're investing not only in your own life, but also in your siblings as well, because you're showing the way to go and how positive sport can be.
Yeah, massively. So obviously you mentioned there that your first marathon on prosthetics in New York took you 5 hours.
19. Yeah.
What when you got that, was there something inside that made you want to, I can do better than that? Was it just a case of
it was like, I'm not doing another one. It was like, mate, I was that sore and I had blisters and everything. I was like, and I didn't train. It just was like, a marathon's a marathon, just one foot in front of the other, get to the finish line and see how it goes. I wanted to do it in New York. I worked in New York. I worked in America post the millennium, and really thought that was a great opportunity away from the safeness and safe spaces of like family and friends and at home, to go away and to be able to challenge myself was incredible. Then to run the race that I did, hardest thing I've ever done, and then to finish, I didn't realise the impact that it would have and the messages that I get from that race, and then it kind of snowballed from there. And the place I am today, it wouldn't have been without the struggle that I had in that 2004 race. It would have been maybe I'd have maybe got bored of my running, or I wouldn't have really valued the work that you have to put into it. And also the real value of connecting with the audience that you're running in front of, because they're the people that volunteer, that hand out the water, they're the people that cheer, administrate, etc., etc. Sport is such a powerful movement that gives everybody a real opportunity to be the best form of themselves. And that's the same with London Marathon. When we run that, it'll be there'll be 60,000 people on the road with 60,000 different stories that are all as important as each other. And I always say, and this is from the best marathon runner on Post-6 ever, and I know a lot of the elite athletes, marathon running isn't about the person that comes first. It's about people. And that's what's so important, that people are recognised, supported. It doesn't have to be by medals or awards. It's just about people being recognised for the great things that running is about.
Yeah, no, massively. Obviously, the time we're recording this, London Marathon's tomorrow, which we're both taking part in. I've done it. This will be my third time.
Nice.
And like what you've said is it's. I found you get quite emotional out of. I've done other marathons, but with London, because like you touched on there, everyone's got their own why for doing it. Everyone's got their own.
You read somebody's vest and it's like doing it for like maybe a son or daughter they've lost, or maybe they're doing it for a charity that's really affected them in their life, and it's so powerful. I'm proud that I'm patron and ambassador of so many different charities. Sarcoma UK I'm patron of. I've got my own foundation, the Richard Whitehead Foundation, and other charities in Nottinghamshire that really do kind of hit home that it's not about me. It's about kind of time's precious, time's important. Don't waste time. Utilise the moment. But I think also that we can all do more. I always hear, I'm not sure I've got time for that. It's rubbish, really. It's absolutely anybody that says that don't manage the time efficiently. I am the busiest person in the world, as you know.
We've seen that firsthand today.
I'm all over the world, but every person who reaches out to me, they get a reply. Every concern, every person that I meet in the street that wants to have a picture or just chat about my prosthetics, they get the time. And I think that's the real role and responsibility of people. It's not about being an athlete or being an elite athlete. It's about the ability to be able to communicate with different people from different sectors in life, to educate them. I for instance, have situations where, because I wear shorts, have little kids maybe never seen an amputee before, and then they have this kind of conversation with a parent and go, "Oh, what is that, a robot? Why have they got no legs? Whatever." And I want parents to address that at that point, because that child is basically saying, "Educate me why that person's different than me." And when I talk to my Black and Asian friends like that, I say, imagine if they were confronted with that conversation and that parent didn't address that. What would you think about that? And they'll say, well, obviously that starts like racism, or that starts discrimination. And I'm saying, well, I have that every day.
Same principle.
Yeah, I have that every day. And that's why my friends now are starting to be educated that Richard faces that every day. And it's something that I kind of real champion for those of us that have a difference that you can see and those that you can't see, to be able to be really brave enough to educate the wider world that resourcefulness isn't a disability. It's an ability.
You're quite right. I love all that, mate. I suppose we couldn't have Richard Whitehead on without chatting about the Olympics. So talk us through, or the Paralympics, you should say. Talk us through how you get involved with that. I know you mentioned about marathon running, snowballing, and then
no, running generally, it's obviously started at point A of just kind of running road marathons, and then of 2005 it was announced 2012 Paralympics in London. There wasn't an event in the marathon or half marathon, and it kind of just went through the events. 200 meters was the one event that I could participate in, and it was about how to qualify and then be able to be the best for myself. It's never initially about winning the event. It was just about kind of getting on the team and showcasing what was possible. Obviously, I definitely did that by winning, but it's it's one of those things where you 5,000 people watched on Channel 4, 8,000 people in the stadium, and 12 years down the line, I'm still getting people talking about the race and how kind of they watched it with their friends and family or in the stadium, and how it's really transformed their outlook in life for themselves or disability sport. And for me, it was all about, I trained so hard for that moment within life, and I just delivered on that day, the 1st September in 2012. And the ability to be able to do that is incredible. I understand that, but I feel that I had so many fantastic people around me supporting me, to be able to have the opportunity. People gave their time up selflessly for me to be successful, and I'll always be very grateful for that. And it's part of the reason why I do everything that I do now, because I know the importance of giving back. But yeah, 2012, standing on that start line, having your name announced, very, very powerful. And then seeing 80,000 Union Jacks when I finished was probably the most surreal moment I've ever had in my life. Yeah, I definitely advocate for people to watch my race on YouTube. It's something that, I know it's me, but I would definitely say watch it, because yeah, the race changes at halfway, and the ability to be able to do that hopefully changes people's perceptions of what actually can be done in life.
Yeah, I remember watching it at the time, and that was the first introduction I had to yourself, Richard. And I you know, again, it was such. There's two moments. One's slightly different, but that one, which is a very powerful, inspiring moment. And I suppose this one is to an extent. I can't remember what year it was, but you was coming to the finish line of the London Marathon, and Eliud Kipchoge he was doing colour commentary, but he kind of stopped what he was doing and was just looking at you in awe. And that's the GOAT, arguably, in running terms.
Yeah, one of the greatest runners in the world. Yeah, and it's the ability to be able to make people understand that what they've done obviously has a massive impact, but everybody has their own kind of journey. And I run the roads of marathons all over the world with one intention, and that's to give the best of myself. And hopefully, because of that, people then see something in me that then relates to themselves, whether it's challenges, whether it's who I am as a person, and then they make that change in themselves for the better of their community. And also, I think, yeah, as a person with a disability, through struggle, it's been hard to smile. And then when you get your kind of real passion, and you have people around you that really kind of push you on and support you through those kind of real struggles, it's fantastic that then other people kind of see light at the end of the tunnel. And whatever circumstance you've got in life, there's always tomorrow, and always believe that there's a tomorrow, because I know within certain mental health conditions that people really do struggle with the format of life, and hopefully through the power of sport, we, not just myself, but we as an entity can change people's whys in life and give them hope that whether you're living on the streets or you have mental health issues, that there's people out there who can help. Yes, obviously you have to help yourself at some point, but sometimes people just need that guidance and support.
Yeah, and it's great that they've got figures like yourself, Richard, who advocate that, mate. I suppose I have to ask you, because being someone who's done, endurance challenges, obviously not to the same feats as yourself, but what I love about it is the bit where you feel like you're ready to throw in the towel, tap out, and for sure, the human body kicks in and goes into places you never thought you could go to, sure. And that spurs you on to the finish. Obviously, the challenge I'm currently doing is the 10 marathons in 10 days, which I feel quite pales in significance, because you did 40 marathons in 40 days, didn't you? So, what was the thought process behind that one? Because that was more than the marathon.
And Terry Fox, Canadian athlete, really inspired me to start running, and he tried to run a marathon a day from east to west of Canada. So when I had the means and the backing of a team to be able to do that, from Land's End to John O'Groats, it was a given, really. I just ran the World Championships in 2013, and I won the 200 metres, and then 10 days later I was up in Scotland starting that challenge. So it was more about kind of getting into the challenge and knowing that I'd not ran lots of long runs, but resilience wise, I felt I had the tools around me to be able to do that. And yeah, fantastic that I could do it for Scope and Sarcoma UK. Met some incredible people through the journey that showed that like charity is not just about money and raising money; it's about the awareness as well. And yeah, met some people that were going through cancer recovery, as well as a new diagnosis, and other disabled people as well, and other conditions that really did kind of say, actually, this is not about me running. It's about kind of the impact that running can have on people. And I know a lot of people do 10 in 10, 20 in 20, 40 in 40, whatever, and that's just a number really. It's about the meaning and the purpose, and how that really translates to action, and that's where it's different. If you're doing a challenge just for a number, you might as well just keep going for a bigger number. And I think it's just ridiculous. I sometimes, when I see people do challenges, I really want to know the concept of why behind it, and if that's raise money for the charity, highlight a charity, fantastic. But really kind of understand that there is a bigger purpose in life. And yes, I've run 40 marathons in 40 days, and this obviously my latest challenge, which is like to get to my 100 from 80. There's a real meaning behind it, and a lot of it isn't well known. It's more about kind of those special people you meet on that journey, and why people deserve the opportunity of enrichment, and not everybody's got it through economics or personal situation. And I've met some incredible, like we're on number 8 now, my 9th is obviously tomorrow. I met some incredible people, like from the disability, religion, sexuality groups, all over the world, that really given me hope that equality, diversity, inclusion is the way to go. But we all need to be more tolerant of each other, and running is its own religion, really. It's its own movement, and hopefully we can use it for the greater good. Obviously, we know that socially now running is more acceptable for younger people. It's bringing more younger people into the sport. And I was with a group this morning and saw some incredible young people that had transformed their lives through running. But I think it's also about accepting that anything's possible, whatever your ability, disability, and just sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get to the end destination.
No, definitely. And I stand by that ethos of running. Certainly saved my life, and what I think one of the big aspects of it, what we've kind of touched on a few times, is the free element. You can do it anywhere in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got the outdoors, regardless of weather, terrain. It's something we can.
And I definitely say that it's better to run outdoors than indoors. Obviously, there's treadmills and those artificial environments, but sometimes that's the only way to kind of be physically active. I understand that, but to be at one with nature and to actually kind of use the senses is so uplifting. And it's a great way to see a city. If you're working in a city, then go out and for a run. Obviously, lots of apps on your phone that you can access, like running routes or running pals, or it's so accessible. And even if you've got an impairment or disability, now there's mechanisms like with my charity, the Richard Whitehead Foundation. We've got a supported runners program where we pair able-bodied people with disabled people within local communities, that gets more people with disabilities on the road. And it's great. It's fantastic to do that. I get a lot of fulfillment for seeing other people's success, whether they're running 7 hours or running 5K park run, just to see people smile. It's crazy. It's cool.
Yeah, shows how humble you are, mate. It really does. Just going back to your reference to your challenge this year, just to add a bit of context on it. So, go on, I'll let you explain it, pal.
So, last year I broke my own world record at Chicago. So, I ran 2:41, I think 0 something in Chicago. And I kind of at that point was like, where do I go from here? My real target's 2:35, which I want to run, which is crazy quick. But this year I wanted a real opportunity to connect with a wider audience of people all over the world in environments that maybe I've already raced in before or worked in. So, for instance, my first race was in Dubai late January, and I'd been to World Championships there. seeing that there was still a long way to go within diversity and inclusion, wanted to go back and really connect to some of the communities there, which I've done, and I'm still doing more work with the Middle East, which is fantastic. And all the races that I've gone to, there's either been an element where I'm going to connect with the community after or between. So I'm doing lots of work with like in Facebook groups and kind of just getting people to kind of really understand the reason why I'm in their community running, or that I've actually competed in those races before, and I want to go back and kind of see if that environment's changed, or if I can kind of really help mold their environment for the greater good. And so my challenge is run 20, so go from 80 to 100 in a year. It's actually not a year because I start at the end of January. My last event will be the 2nd of November. So it's really 10 months. So 20 marathons in 10 months is crazy. At the moment, this would be my 4th weekend in a run that I've run a marathon. So I started off Milan, Paris, Boston, here, and then Vancouver. So I've got 5 weeks in a row. Wow. And then obviously it's 5 different countries, lots of different continents, and people think I'm nuts. I probably am, but the ability to be able to do it just challenges the status quo. I think we put too many limitations on ourselves, physically and mentally, that like the amount of people that have said, how can you do it? And just because you're putting limitations on yourself, don't put limitations on other people. I've also done 5 of the 8 under 3 hours, which is pretty crazy as well. But again, that's me. I want to kind of put on a show, want to support those individuals that kind of say, actually, well, he's just a runner on prosthetics. And then, like, again, Dubai first marathon, like, I was only disabled person really that was running that event, and then banged out a 2:46. All of a sudden, I'm over all their news coverage, kind of showing, look, this person's running on prosthetics. Anybody can do it. I think I was I 20th or maybe 18th. I think it was 20th something. I was 20 something in the whole race out of a whole marathon in Dubai with an elite field. So it just shows that you can do anything, and you can do it. But don't feel it needs to be a marathon. It could be something that you feel is impossible now. Commit to it, get support, have process goals, have some small achievable goals, and you can get there. And if you don't, know that you've improved in that process and set yourself another goal.
Yeah, no, massively. I just want to put a bit of context for maybe any of the listeners who aren't as savvy with running. So, what's the average time? I mean, so I'll go with Matt. So my personal best marathon time is 3 hours 57.
Nice.
So obviously, you know,
awesome,
I do quite a lot of running.
Yeah,
so I just want to kind of put the context, the fact that you're getting like, what, 2 hours 41 was that in Chicago?
2:41, yeah.
I just find that nuts, like in a sense, just moving that fast in general.
And I'm 48 years old as well. It's like people say, like, oh, yeah, I'm too old for this. It's rubbish, absolute rubbish. You're never too old to start running. I was speaking to a guy on the plane back from Boston. His daughter's running on Sunday, and she just run Boston like me. And he was going, "Oh, I'm 70. I ran a marathon like maybe 30 years ago. I still like running." I'm like, "Why don't you run a marathon?" Because I'm 70. I'm like, "It's rubbish. You run it." And then, like, moving your legs one in front of the other, that is a form of movement. And for me, that's that you're running. You're moving faster than you've ever moved when you're walking. So just kind of, it doesn't matter if you do 7 hours. It's about what that shows, not only yourself, but all the world and your daughter and your grandkids, that grandpa or whoever it is can actually do something at 70. And I did a race in South Africa a long time ago called Comrades. It's an ultra marathon. And I remember it's 56 miles and crazy up and down hills, biggest event in South Africa running wise. And I remember there was one point, I think it was around maybe 26 miles, 27 miles. I think we'd just gone over half point. And I remember this woman overtook me, and she must have been in her 60s. And I was gobsmacked. I literally was like going, holy crap. This lady was like just pounding the streets. She was living the best life. And I said, that's how running should be. Somebody that's not got those obstacles, barriers in her life, and she's doing her best life. And whether she completes it like that or she runs and walks, she was competing like everybody else and really kind of showcasing that anything's possible.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a disability to showcase that. I think it's what's in your heart, and you really just go out there and do it.
I think, as cliche as it sounds, that positive mental attitude, isn't it?
Yeah, PMA,
if you're in a good mood, a good stride on your run, because sometimes, even if it's just something like, I generally don't wear headphones, but like running around Hyde Park today, I just suddenly put the Rocky soundtrack on, and I found that my pace was picking up without me trying. But half an hour ago, I was playing in my head, I want to stop. Those green line bikes go past. I want to go
exactly,
do the rest of it. But I think it is just having that, like you say, that outlook, that mindset.
And then people are inspired and kind of motivated by other things, whether it's music, whether it's those kind of podcasts, or like yourself, obviously, and just hearing other people's outlooks in life. And I think it is important that you get your own journey and understand your journey is as important as anybody else's. I'm an advocate for social media. Gives you a great opportunity to connect, but there's also so much out there that is not great for your own well-being. And when I throw my social media content out there, and my success or not so much success, when I put it out there, it's not with a look at me, I'm brilliant. It's more like, I've done this, but you can do it. If you want support, I'm here, so is the rest of the community. Let's come together for the greater good and connect through running. And I love running because it's not about running itself. It's about what it gives you. And the city of London will be enriched through tomorrow for the 60,000 stories that are on the road, but also the people that are watching on the side of the road, seeing new things that have probably never seen before. And one of those things will obviously be people like me with disabilities that are running marathons.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I can't wait for. Or will it be the last one for me as well? It's kind of like, what a place to finish. I suppose I have to ask you, what's your favourite marathon that you've took part in, or maybe there's multiple ones?
Oh, favourite marathon? There are lots of. I think it's more like London's incredible, New York's incredible, because New York was my first home marathon. London. I think I've really tried to embrace different countries and environments, and Italy is such a great running community. South Africa as well. I did a lot of warm weather training out in Stellenbosch, so to go and do comrades in South Africa as well as some other races. I think for me it's the course doesn't matter. I think because obviously if there's flat course, possibly I run a PB world record that time. Hilly courses can be tough. You have to really dig in. I think sometimes it's more about the reason why I'm there, and if I'm there to really get stuck in and enjoy the event and be part of the event, you just don't. If you're open like that, you don't know where it's going to go. That finish line isn't necessarily at 26.2. Sometimes it's that 27, that magic 27th mile that they always talk about is really about social change, and that whether it's yourself or the people. So going back to your question, I think it's a lot of the ones that I've just actually gone, I'm going to go to this race, I don't know what to expect, and then it turns out to be a fantastic event, or not so great with inclusion, and then you're able to change it for next year. Like I've had a couple of races this year where the accessibility has been quite poor, and I've kind of said it to the race directors that you need to change this and this, and they're like, yeah, we do that. We really appreciate that you'll come and you've experienced this race, and to have your feedback really does mean that the next year, hopefully, more people with disabilities will be more physically active.
No, quite right. I'm just going back to the Dubai Marathon. You mentioned that got a lot of attraction because obviously you took part and you got a really good time with it as well. Because obviously the Saudi Arabia involvement with sport as a whole, have they reached out to you, or is there any? I don't know if you can talk about this.
No, I can talk about whatever you want, mate. I think I'm really key to work in those environments where maybe equality, diversity, inclusion is like a second thought, maybe. But I think some of those Middle Eastern countries now are really kind of looking to change the opinion of what their society thinks of people with disabilities. And I when I went to Dubai initially for the World Championships actually, and won my gold medal, I actually didn't think they were very inclusive, and the event there had some real concerns. But going back and sit like maybe 10, 15 years later, being able to kind of mold the organisation to say, actually, I think there's a real opportunity of educating people like sports ministers, people in power, to actually say people with disabilities that maybe are hidden, that are at home. Let's give them an opportunity to shine. And yeah, hopefully that's going to happen next year on the 25th anniversary. But also, I think in some of those other countries, those African countries where they've not got the ability to afford prosthetics or the technology, to have somebody like myself that then kind of really gets involved with kind of facilitating that is really important, because everybody deserves the same opportunities as myself. And whether I'm supporting the next generation of athletes to be better than me, that's a big tick in my. I'm not precious about my world records or my medals. I've done that, and that was great for me. But at some point, somebody needs to step into my shoes, because I can't do this all my life, mate. Because 20 marathons all over the world once is fine, but when I get to 100, it'd be a great opportunity for reflection and evaluation, and yeah, hopefully somebody else kind of takes on the baton from there.
Yeah, no, quite right. Obviously, going on to reflection, I'm kind of big on sort of like mindset, and obviously having the opportunity to interview you here. Just a couple of sort of questions. What's any advice you can give about staying motivated through adversity?
Yeah, visualization is really important. I do quite a bit of visualization around like what the day's going to look like what I need to remember, whether it's kind of my physical activity and kind of what kind of pace I'm going to run out, maybe some physical obstacles that I need to be aware of, and then go through that in my head, so to make things more relatable when things happen. Because I think when we think about opportunities, sometimes it's a shock opportunity, and then we can't have a freeze, or we don't realise until it's gone. And I think visualization really does help make things more relevant to the opportunity that happens, and also it's great because for me, having those opportunities really does that empower other people. And I forgot where I'm going with this, but I think it's we all need to have people that are allies and advocates. And I think that's really important, that we have those individuals that can support us in those challenges. And I think my success is just a reflection of obviously having people around me that really do support me. And obviously having this platform also gives me a great opportunity to relate to maybe an audience that hasn't seen me before, or also kind of goes, actually, that small little bite-sized piece of information really does relate to this conversation that I need to have with this individual, or this really does relate to this challenge that I'm going through in my life.
No, quite right. So I've got a couple of questions left now.
Yep.
So one of them, it's not more of a question, is what piece of advice could you give to any aspiring runners, whether it's the taking part in the first marathon or the 100th marathon?
Smile, just enjoy every step or push, however you're making your journey. Just kind of understand that it's your own personal one. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of that you're taking those steps to be better. And yes, it's not always going to be easy. Running isn't easy. 26 miles marathon isn't easy. I never take a marathon for granted, whether it's my 89th or first. The advice I generally give to people, it's preparation is key to success. Like I say, smiling, be kind to other fellow runners, because those are the individuals that will pick you up at the end of a race. Like I picked somebody up at London. People have picked me up at races before, and also kind of say to yourself, like, I'm running because, and then finish the sentence. and have that kind of conversation with you every day. And I do. I'm running because, and it might be because in the memory of, to empower, to be better, to be faster, to be stronger. But just say it to yourself, because sometimes that message changes and you'll take people with you on that kind of journey.
Yeah, no, very uplifting. Looking back on your own journey, Richard, what's the most rewarding part now? Where you're at with all the accomplishments, the achievements, what's the most rewarding part?
Just seeing like kids like smile when they see me running, or they I can kind of speak to young people. Spoke to a young girl actually. There was in Boston at Amputee that just met through just a kind of chance circumstance, and ever since I've getting messages from parents that it's been like a fantastic kind of opportunity to meet somebody that she didn't realise were people like her, and that is incredible. Like yourself, I think people don't realise how the awareness of what you're doing really does make a difference. But also there's people out there that have still got those blinkers, still got those barriers in front of themselves. And I always use a simple thing to break down those barriers, and it's just by saying hello. You say somebody might look you up and down, or somebody might kind of be like, I don't know, not starstruck, but actually kind of not knowing how to communicate with you. But if you make that initial conversation of saying hello, it's an opportunity for them to communicate with you in a safe space. And if they don't, then that's obviously their kind of their not necessarily the problem, but they're not ready to communicate with somebody that maybe is like different than them, and that's something that maybe later down the line they can challenge themselves to do. But I think for me, and I do it a lot, and people sometimes think, oh, when you go on the school run, why do you say hello to so many people? Because sometimes people have those discrimination kind of prejudice things in their head, and they don't know how to address it. But those simple kind of kind communication opportunities really do break down those stereotypes of what a person with a disability or somebody that looks different in their community can actually do. And it's obviously been a great privilege to chat to you, and all the best in your challenge. Obviously, last one tomorrow. I think it's about kind of real celebration of what you've done, and feel proud of what you've done. It's obviously for a fantastic cause, and a lot of people will be better off because of that. Not just for the money, but also because you're championing their stories through your challenge. So well done.
Yeah, no, well, I appreciate that, mate. And also with regards to always making time, we got a short snippet of that in the lobby, because literally I think about 15 people come over and you made time for every single one of them. So no, he's not bullshining there. We did see it. So that's great. Okay, I suppose lastly, before we kind of wrap things up, because obviously we both want to get some sleep for tomorrow's marathon, give us a little bit about the Richard Whitehead Foundation and how people can get in touch and support and what it is you do.
Yeah, first of all, anybody wants to connect, obviously I'm all over social media, so feel free to connect and follow my journey. But the Richard Whitehead Foundation is something that I started just before COVID, and it's about empowering disabled people's ambitions. I think there's not enough opportunities for people with disabilities within sport, education and employment, and we offer support across a range of different programs that we have, like a beneficiary program that provides prosthetics, supported runners program that gets people with disabilities on the road with like-minded people that really want to support disabled people in their communities, and loads of other projects. It's a foundation I'm really proud of. We've got trustees that reflect the disability and minority communities, and we do things the right way. And I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of charities and organisations in my life, and I realised that it's about giving back, and the Richard Whitehead Foundation definitely does give me the opportunity to reach out to people like yourselves and get people involved. Because like I said a while ago, volunteering is like underpins every sporting event, and without volunteers, we cannot coexist as athletes and spectators. So yes, get involved. Richard Whitehead Foundation on the website. Follow the social media and be part of the movement moving forwards, because sometimes I hear the conversation, well, I don't know anybody disabled, or I don't kind of we don't have any wheelchair users, so why would we have an accessible building? It's about paying it forward a lot of the time. And the disability community is the only minority group that everybody will be affected by. Everybody in life will have a debilitating time in their life, whether it's through an illness, whether it's through accident, or whether it's actually have a full-time physical disability. So pay it forward, give some time up. We're always willing to support those like-minded people, and it changes life. Like we've friendships, partnerships with people through the projects that we've had have been really transformative for business, brand, stakeholders, and individuals that I'm really proud of. And it's definitely something that before COVID and after COVID, I kind of look back and go, yeah, that's such a great thing to do. And not everybody's got the time and the capacity to do that. But for me, the word capacity is a disability word. It's a debilitating word. Everybody has more time. And remember, time is a commodity. We don't necessarily know how much time we've got. So use it wisely. Volunteer more. The Richard Whitehead Foundation's got loads of opportunities. Come and join the fun.
Yeah, I think it's awesome what you're doing. And for those listening, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, both Richard's socials and the Richard Whitehead Foundation and your website as well, will all be tagged in the description if you want to get in touch with them. Richard, it's been an absolute privilege, mate, and quite an honour that I get to speak to someone like yourself ahead of doing the London Marathon.
Anytime.
No, I massively appreciate
Make sure you get some sleep
mate.
tonight and get a bit of carbs inside you before tomorrow.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've been Daniel Hodges. This has, of course, been the legendary Richard Whitehead, and you've been listening to the Hodge-Cast. Take it easy. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we believe you can definitely take something away from today's guest. We couldn't attract guests such as this without a solid fan base. The best way we can grow this is through subscriptions. So, if you haven't already done so, can I please ask you hit that subscribe button and help us continue to put out content for you all to enjoy. Until next time.